PC parts are starting to drop, and they're dropping quite dramatically in price. So, as that comes, budget builds in New Zealand are becoming more of a reality. Hey guys, it's Wise from wisetech.org here, and today we're going to be doing a budget PC build for April in New Zealand of 2022. So let's get straight into it. First off, we've got two differences. So the first budget build is the i3-12100F with a H610 motherboard that comes to a total of $1,320, and the next one up from that is the i5-10400F with a B560 motherboard, and that comes in at $1,358. So you will be saving a little bit of money in comparison to each other. So the i3 will be a little bit cheaper, and I'll explain why in a second. So starting off with the i3-12100F, it's a quad-core processor, and it currently comes in at $168.99 from PB Tech. It's awesome for gaming, and it's quite a decent CPU if you guys think about it. So in terms of gaming performance, I think Gamers Nexus gave a really good review and comparison on it compared to some other budget offerings, and it's actually one of the better CPUs even in New Zealand. At $168, I think it's an awesome deal, even though it's just a quad-core CPU. So Gamers Nexus did point out as well, if you are looking to do more productivity tasks and you rely on your CPU for those productivity tasks such as rendering or anything like that, then maybe the CPU is not for you. It's really good for gaming, but if you rely on your CPU for work, it's probably not the best. Then again, I mean, you can use the CPU easily for productivity and you will be fine. You just gotta let it render out a little bit longer, or just wait for stuff to compile for a little bit longer. But it's not a bad offering, especially at its current price. So the motherboard I've paired it up with is the cheapest H610M motherboard I could find. It's the one from ASRock. It comes with 2 RAM slots, 4 SATA, and I believe PCIe 4.0. It's LGA 1700, so it's compatible with the i3 processor. Overall, it's not too bad at $171 from PB Tech. I think it's a okay motherboard, but it is a budget offering, and it doesn't have any VRM heatsink as well, so that's okay. But it is what it is for this motherboard, especially at a budget price. You're kind of just wanting whatever. I wish it would be $150 instead of $171, as it would be a more convincing build to get instead of the i5. But yeah, I just wanted to bring this up really quick before I head on to the other side of the comparison. You might be wondering why I didn't bring up the Ryzen 5 5500. And Gamers Nexus, again, he did a really good review in comparison. And the CPU around this price range, even in New Zealand, is just not great of an offering. It's about $250 New Zealand. So it's around the price of an 11400F. And the 11400F performs similarly, if not better, in some scenarios for gaming and performance tasks as well. So overall, it's just not that great of an offer for its price. At least if it came down to maybe 200, it'd be an awesome 6-core processor, but I don't know, it's just not there in terms of price to performance, especially in New Zealand as well. So the second part of the build, the i5-10400F. So the trusty 10400F is a 6-core processor, currently $218.99 from PB Tech, or $218 from First Wave. Awesome price for a 6-core processor, and I've recommended it many times in New Zealand just due to its price. It's great for gaming. You can do a bit of performance tasking on it as well, and you should be fine. I think it's a great CPU for the price. So let's head over to the motherboard I paired it up with. Is the ASRock B560 HDV Micro ATX motherboard. It's LGA 1200, and it comes in $157 from Palladium TC, or $159.85 from PB Tech. So it comes with 2 RAM slots, 2 DIMM slots here, PCIe 4.0 I believe, no VRM heatsink, and 4 SATA. So nothing fancy here. Again, budget offering. It is what it is. It's a cheap offering. So in summary, my build recommendation for the CPU still goes to the i3 over here, the 12100F. It's a quad-core processor again. But I think even though you're still saving just a wee bit of money, but if you're only gonna game and you're on a budget, then it's probably the better option. And considering that it could go down in price even further with specials and discounts further on, I think it's a great path to choose. So that would be my recommendation for this month. For the RAM, I've gone with something cheap. It's the theme of this build today. So it's a G-Skill Ripjaws V series, 16 gigs of RAM, CL16, $115 from PB Tech. Currently, I believe that's on sale. Not a bad price for a decent kit of RAM. Now, do keep in mind that there is the option of the Corsair one, so I'll bring that up now. There's also the option of the Corsair Vengeance LPX 16 gigs, $117 from Frostwave or Extreme PC. Now, usually the G-Skill one or this Corsair LPX one is going to be fine. There won't be too many differences in terms of a budget offering. I mean, you're not going to be doing overclocking or anything like that. So these two should suit you pretty well. They don't have any RGB, but I don't think that matters to many people at a budget range. So there's the two offerings for RAM and my recommendations for them. Now, the storage, or just the SSD for this one, is the Samsung 870 EVO, and it currently comes in at $112 from Aquila Technology or $119 from PB Tech. Just a quick side note here, the Samsung 970 EVO would actually be my recommendation, as I recently saw it go on special from PB Tech for $109, or you can get it from First Wave for $107. So it's an M.2 drive and it's 500 gigs. Objectively, it should be better than getting the 870 EVO, but that's also a great option for SATA. Either one at these prices will be perfectly fine, although the M.2 one should be a bit quicker. So this one would actually be my recommendation. Or $118.99 from PB Tech and $119 from Computer Lounge or Extreme PC. A little bit expensive for this SSD, but I always give my recommendation for this one just because it's a very reliable SSD. It's from Samsung. It's one of the better ones that you can get. At this price range, you could also opt for the Crucial MX500, which is also could be a 500 gig SSD for around the same price, if not cheaper, when it goes on sale. I'd keep a lookout for both of them. Now again, for anything with hard drives, for just gaming, pure gaming, you want to put games on a hard drive, you can easily go secondhand. And if you want to go brand new and you want to store personal files or anything like that on it, then you can just go for a Seagate Barracuda or a Western Digital Blue, which should be about 1 terabyte for around about under $80, and you should be all good for that. So those are the two options for brand new hard drives if you guys want to go for that as well. Now, finally, we've gotten on to the graphics card. So the graphics card, I've gone with the Sapphire Radeon RX 6600 8GB card. It's currently $549 from PB Tech, and I think that's actually a really good price for this card. It's a decent 1080p gaming graphics card, and you know, from what I've seen in benchmarks and how it runs at $549, I'd actually say that's pretty decent. And you know, although it does have the PCIe 4.0 limitation, it's yet to be seen in games today, and especially if you guys are just going for a budget offering, I assume you're just going to want to be playing at maybe high 1080p. So I don't expect you guys to be playing like the latest AAA games, maybe at ultra 1080p. You could be playing at low or medium 1080p, and you should be fine on the 6600. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't I go for anything cheaper than this card? So, you know, I had a look around for cheaper than this card. I couldn't identify anything that like really popped out for me. You know, the cheapest 6500 XT is $368, and that's basically an RX 580. That's quite expensive for that card, to be honest with you guys. Still, even though the price is still coming down. Let's give another example. The GZX 1660 Super $499. I still think that's quite expensive, considering literally for $50 extra you can pop up to a 6600 over here. So again, not justified. Below that is an RTX 3050, and the 6600 is better than an RTX 3050. Below the RTX 3050 is the 2060. It should be around here somewhere. And lastly, the 2060, they've currently dropped to $549 as well. And well, I just said the 6600 is better than the 3050, so just by order, the 6600 is also better than the 2060. So, you know, yeah, I just can't justify it. Like at a budget offering, I know it's kind of sad to say that there's nothing below 500, but literally, I wouldn't recommend any of these guys below 500, considering that, yeah, if you just spend slightly extra, you could be getting something significantly better and a newer generation as well. So yeah, I think that sums it up for graphics cards, and overall, that's my outlook on it. Is the recommendation for the RX 6600. It's a decent card for $549. It's not that badly priced. For the case, I've got a massive surprise this week, so I've gone with the Fantex Eclipse. Just a quick note here, the P300A is not the same case that I built my friend's cousin's PC in. So I actually built it in the P360A, and that does come with RGB fans in the front. In any case, this is still a decent offering, considering that it is a mesh case, and it is from Fantex, so it shouldn't be too bad quality. It looks very similar to the P360A. It does come with the tempered glass side panel as well, so just keep that in mind, which is really good value offering at this price range. So yeah, just ignore what I'm saying about its build quality because I'm not 100% sure on it, but at the same time, from what I've seen from Fantex products and what I've read of reviews, it's not a bad case, especially at the budget end. Video comes out, I'm not sure when it will, but I'm bringing out a video on some case fans, which are the Inwin Serious Loop ASL fans, and they come in a 3-pack for around $50 New Zealand. I think they're an awesome offering. I literally have them in my case. I think they push a lot of air out. And yeah, the RGB looks amazing on them, so if you guys want to pair that $50 guy up with this case, then you'll be perfectly good to go. But at a minimum, it should come with this exhaust fan here. I don't know why it's not showing any fans in this listing here, but when we bought the one from my friend's cousin's PC, it did come with 2 RGB ones at the front. For power supply, now I've got a few options here. This is a budget build, so I've gone with the EVGA GD 2019 600 watt gold certified ATX power supply. It's $124.95 from PB Tech at the moment. It's non-modular, which is kind of disappointing, but if for some reason power supply prices have currently gone up, so if you wanted to build today, I'd probably use this guy. But if you did want a modular power supply and you're willing to wait, these options are also great. So the Fractal Design Ion 500 watt, currently $179, usually comes down to $150. The Be Quiet Pure I've seen is currently $182 from PB Tech and 85 cents. So kind of weird as well. 650 watt Gold Plus usually should be about $149. And there's also the Corsair RMX 650, should be $150 as well instead of $175 from First Wave. Now there is also the Corsair RMX 550 watt, which should be around $135. It's an awesome power supply. It's probably the best out of the ones I've shown you guys so far. So the RMX version is line is really good. So $135 is even better than this guy, and it's 550 watt, but you get the modularity and the high quality materials that they've used in this power supply. So all up, we get 2 prices here. So with the i3 build, we get $1,320, and on the recommendations for the i5, we get $1,358. So a little bit of a price difference there, and that's a price difference of $37.51, which is actually not too bad. And considering that these parts can come down on special, I'd say the i3 build can be even better in price, and so can the i5 one. Now do take into account if you just want to play games, then the i3 is probably better. If you want to do a little bit of more performance task or anything like that, with multitasking or anything like that, then the 6-core processor is probably going to do a little bit better from the i5-10400F. And if you want to step it up to the 11400F is even better, and there's also the 12400F if you want to go with the new LGA 1700. And just a final note, I just want to advise you guys, so these are budget offerings, and later this year AMD should come out with their new socket for AM5, and that should be on an LGA socket as well. So they're switching from AM4 to hopefully AM5, so it shouldn't have like these dots anymore from what I believe. And just do keep in mind, you will have slightly older hardware when this does come out at the later this year, or you can get even better deals on older hardware. So I just want you guys to be aware of that. Is we're kind of in an in-between phase where new things will come out slowly and more budget offerings should come up, at least by logic. The current generation becoming cheaper, or new budget offerings coming from the new platforms. Also, one thing to consider is DDR5. DDR5 is going to become more mainstream, I believe, in the next 2 years probably, considering that AMD will release new CPUs. So AM5 is something to consider with DDR5 as well. PCIe 5.0 is also something to consider. I know we're only on the budget offerings here, but yeah, if you wait a little bit, you could get something even better. But again, if you was to build today, I'd probably say the i3 is probably the way to go. And in any case, you're going to be having an awesome gaming experience. So that about sums up the video. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you check out wiresec.org for some awesome content. But other than that, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.